the only winner at the moment seems to be Vladimir Putin, who continues to prosecute a wholly illegal and horrifying war against Ukraine, is probably delighted that the NATO alliance is being pressed by the United States, and that the strong transatlantic relationship, which has been an economic and military and political powerhouse, is now at risk.
Over in Davos, the Democratic governor of California, Gavin Newsom, who is seen as somebody who has his eye on running for the Democrats for the presidency, he's urged European leaders to not be bullied by President Trump.
It's time to buck up. It's time to get serious and stop being complicit. It's time to stand tall and firm, have a backbone. Can't take this complicity. People rolling over. I should have brought a bunch of knee pads for all the world leaders. I mean, handing out crowns and this is pathetic. Nobel Prizes, they are being given away. I mean, it's just pathetic. And I hope people understand how pathetic they look on the world stage. I mean, at least from an American perspective, it's embarrassing.
Well, so the European leaders really getting it from both sides now, from Donald Trump and now from the Democratic opponent of Donald Trump, accusing them of going down on their knees to the president, needing knee pads. Now, Anders Fogh Rasmussen, the former General Secretary of Nato, told Times Radio if America took Greenland by force, it would be the end of the military alliance. And here he is talking to Hugo Rifkind.
If that threat comes to fruition, it would be the end of NATO. It doesn't make sense to have a collective defense organization where the major ally attacks another ally with the aim to take territory. Still, I doubt that it will come to that, partly because there is not support for that in the US Congress.
Anders Fogh Rasmussen, the former Secretary General of NATO. Now, I want to welcome to Drive Ambassador Wendy Sherman, who was Deputy Assistant Secretary of State under President Biden. Hello to you, Ambassador.
Good to be with you today. And indeed, we are at a moment of crisis. The markets are responding negatively, which sometimes gets President Trump to think twice about what he's doing. This is a very serious moment. It comes at the one-year anniversary of the Trump presidency, a president who is very comfortable wielding power. But really, the only winner at the moment seems to be Vladimir Putin, who continues to prosecute a wholly illegal and horrifying war against Ukraine, is probably delighted that the NATO alliance is being pressed by the United States, and that the strong transatlantic relationship, which has been an economic and military and political powerhouse, is now at risk. So we're in a very tough place. And I guess the other thing I think it's important for your listeners to understand is that this is not where most Americans are. The vast majority of Americans, over 70%, some say as much as 90%, believe trying to take over Greenland is absurd. They are giving very negative marks to the president on our economy. And indeed, we've seen that if you push back, as China did when Trump really threatened China, China said, well, nobody's getting critical minerals, and the president backed off. So what you're hearing from Gavin Newsom is, sort of really get your stuff together, push back. We all know what a bully is like from our school days, and now is the time to push back and to say we won't put up with this,
right? Okay.
And to create a cost.
Right. So you then agree, clearly, with Gavin Newsom, that the European leaders of NATO need to stand up to President Trump and threaten retaliatory trade tariffs. Do you go that far? Certainly, emollients doesn't seem to be working so far. But what action do you want to see?
I think there are different points of leverage. Some leaders today are suggesting a boycott of the World Cup. President Trump creates and really cares about prestige events like the World Cup, the Olympics.
Would you support that, Ambassador?
Well, what I support is trying to get the president to understand that he has an off-ramp here. We all care about the Arctic. I certainly do. I think it is very strategic for the future in an incredibly number of ways. But the president can get more bases in Greenland. He can work through ensuring that we have the critical minerals. NATO can increase its presence and its pressure There are lots of ways for the president to get what he says he wants
Yes.
without taking over and being acquisitive and imperialistic
Yeah.
where Greenland is
Right.
concerned.
Look, I mean, the Football World Cup is an event close to the president's heart. We know that. But tariffs against America, that would bite into the American economy. Would you support that, a united response of that kind from the European NATO leaders?
Well, I think the NATO leaders and the European leaders need to toughen up and decide what is their best point of leverage and what will impose a cost for what most Americans see as insanity. As I said, we all understand the strategic importance of Greenland, but the President of the United States has an off ramp. He just needs to take it.
Okay, I'm going to move on to the so-called Board of Peace, which, as you know, was originally conceived as a part of the solution, the move towards peace in the Middle East, in Gaza. Now the plan seems to be to install President Trump, or for him to install himself as chairman for life, and to put Vladimir Putin and Lukashenko of Belarus on the board with a membership fee of $1 billion in cash into the bargain. What do you make of that plan?
I make of it a very, very bad plan, a very great concern that this is really to put the president in a position of power and for perpetuity, and also increases control over billions of dollars, which probably in the end would help his son, who has a lot of investments in the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, who has investments in the Middle East, to build that renaissance in Gaza that the president has talked about, I think all built by the Kushner investment vehicle. So this is of great concern. I think it is right for President Macron to say no thanks.
Yeah.
Are you
saying, Ambassador, this would be indeed? Are you saying, Ambassador, this would be a corrupt plan to benefit the Trump family business?
It could well be. I think we don't know. And why would anyone put so much power and so much money in the hands of any single individual in perpetuity? So this is not just a good idea for the President of the United States. This is a bad idea for anyone to be in such a position.